What happens when you take 4,500 micrograms of acid, 15 high doses of LSD, while in the wrong mindset? Absolute chaos. This is hands down one of the most powerful, terrifying, and surreal trips I've ever read about, and it's a warning for anyone who thinks they can just push psychedelics to the limit. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a trip report of someone who dropped 15 tabs of super strong acid all at once. We're talking hallucinations so real, they couldn't tell dream from reality, running naked in public, encounters with police, getting tased, and visions of infinite black space and a cosmic book of truth. It's one hell of a ride. And while the storyteller did come out the other side with insights, this experience shows just how dangerous it can be when you're not careful. So, buckle up, because this isn't your average trip report. This is what happens when you take way too much LSD. First things first, as you can see by the title, this trip ended up being one of the most powerful I have ever been through. And the truth is, I was in no condition to be taking LSD at all, let alone such a massive amount. I was an idiot, learned from my mistakes. It was a little less than a year ago. A good friend and I had been tripping 1 to 2 times a month for about 6 months, and over that time, we had been slowly increasing the doses we were taking. By this point, I had taken 1,000 micrograms a few times, and I was extremely comfortable at that dose. But for this particular night, I wanted a little more excitement, so I got in touch with my source and arranged to pick up a higher dose. I met him around 5:30 in the afternoon, right at the beginning of a long weekend. He told me he had a new batch of LSD and that it was super strong, so I went with that instead of the other acid I had been buying. What I didn't realize at the time was that this sheet of acid was between 250 and 300 micrograms per tab. By failing to ask further about this new batch, I sealed my fate. I took 15 tabs of this blotter, all at once, around 6 p.m. My buddy, he played it safe, taking only 4 tabs. We decided to watch YouTube videos just to pass the time until we came up. What follows is a little foggy. All in all, I only remember a small portion of this trip. 6:30 p.m. This is when the effects started to become very clear. My heart started pumping harder, and I could feel the stuff climbing up my spine. At this stage, I also started getting afraid I would have a bad trip. I don't know why, but the vibrations were already intense at this point. "7 p.m. The first peak hits me. I was not ready for it to take hold so quickly. In the past, it had sometimes taken 90 minutes just to notice the drug. This time, I made it through by letting YouTube distract me. 9 p.m. The next wave hits me, and it just blows me the fuck away. I remember looking at the TV and seeing a flower bloom out from the screen towards my face. As it neared me, I noticed a woman standing in front of it, flabbergasted, completely unable to communicate. I stared at her face, wide-eyed, for a few seconds. She looked deep into my eyes and raised a finger to her lips, telling me to shush, before exploding into a kaleidoscope of colors that blanketed the entire room. As I snap out of it, I am extremely confused and terrified. I yell out, "What the F was that?" And my friend, he starts to freak out too. I believe because we were seeing the same thing. He doesn't remember this portion of the trip at all. 9:40 p.m. Since that last experience, we were both getting more and more worked up, feeding off each other's wild energy, until it literally became a screaming match. Both of us, 100% convinced that the world was coming to an end, right outside, and somehow it was our fault. And this is when I made the biggest mistake of the entire night. I broke all the rules of tripping in one move. I walked outside by myself in my boxers while on somewhere between 3,750 and 4,500 micrograms of LSD. At this point, I was peaking extremely hard. I couldn't really see anything. On a dose this high, it's like you lose your original 5 senses and gain a 6th sense that can perceive everything all at once. It's like every bit of sensory input comes at you on a single plane, if that makes sense. "9:45 p.m. Somehow, I had made it across a busy street without getting hit by a car, and somehow, I had also managed to lose my boxers. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I was now completely naked in public. I had no idea who I was, where I came from, or what was even real. And on top of all that, I couldn't see anything past the hallucinations. Across the street, I saw a group of what may or may not have been people, completely petrified. I went over to them, hoping to ask for some kind of help. As I got closer, I started hearing yelling coming from the group. A large guy came running up to me. I thought he was going to kill me. I tried to run, but I stumbled into this dude's grip, and he socked me right in the side of the face. I realized communicating wasn't going to work with these people, so I stumbled away, back in the direction of my apartment. 9:55 p.m. As I am trying to get away from the dude who hit me, I hear someone yelling, "Fucking stop." This obviously terrifies me, so I run for my life in the opposite direction, only to be stopped by 3 people with guns drawn, pointed at me. I didn't realize at the time that these people were police, but they sure as hell were. They try to shout commands at me, but I can't understand a word they're saying. I try to walk away, and I get hit with a taser. I watch the prongs float through the air at what seems like 1/100th of life's normal speed, and as soon as they hit my skin, I am completely ripped from my body, and I enter a completely infinite and black space. I am floating through this infinite space, and I see a very small point of light, about the size of a distant star, off in one direction. I decide to float toward this light. As I draw nearer, I start to make out colors I have never seen before. Not just shades I knew, but entirely new primary colors. I continue moving closer and become aware of a very beautiful piece of music playing. It's a song I have never heard in my life, but it feels so familiar. It completely relaxes me. As I realize this, I also begin to feel that I have been to this place before. The limitless void of nothingness, with this distant light, felt more comfortable than my own bed. I bask for what feels like hours in the presence of the most comforting feeling I have ever experienced. Meanwhile, as the light draws near, I realize it's not a star, it's a book. I approach this massive book, the only thing around, and begin to flip through it. I don't actually reach out, I don't touch it, but somehow, using only my mind, I am able to turn the enormous, ancient feeling pages of this book. It appears to be alive. It looks as if a massive tree grew out of the nothingness, and instead of leaves, this book grew from its branches. The pages lay open in front of me. On the left page, a blue energy emanates from within the book itself. The energy manifests as blue veins, twisting and splitting, all pointed toward the spine of the book. On the opposite page, a similar energy appears, but in red instead of blue. The words, duality, truth, you shouldn't be seeing this right now, floated through my mind. As I heard the last words, I snap out of it. It felt like I had literally existed as part of that black space for years, but as I came to, I was still in the middle of falling from being tasered. I hit the ground, still with no fucking idea who I am or what is real. The police end up having to taser me 2 more times just to get me to stay on the ground. They load me into an ambulance, and I black out from there until I wake up in jail. This experience was by far the single most intense of my entire life. I just felt like sharing it here. I've come to accept it, and I actually took a lot of good things away from that trip, so I don't regret it, but I would not advise you to take that much LSD in a bad mood, or you will not be the same for a while. I hope that someone can learn from this experience and maybe keep from making the same mistakes.
I'm on it now.